Happy Tuesday, loves. So we are on day 4, how happiness affects your health. Before I jump into our topic tonight, I wanted to share a quick testimonial, quick client story. I worked with a client in the past who she had a drug addiction and had some issues with some hard drugs. And we worked a lot on perception. We looked at what things that she was doing that put her closer to her goals as well as away from her goals. And stress, we looked at anxiety, we looked at depression, and of course, we also looked at unhappiness. And it's crazy to think just how much happiness affects our health. You wouldn't think it would because it's a mood, right? Just like how sadness is a mood. So happiness does actually affect your physical as well as mental, obviously, right? Health. So I want to talk about and hit a few points tonight in this Facebook Live, just to hopefully shift your perspective on happiness as not just the mood, but also in how it affects your health. And as you join, make sure to type in the comments, say hello, and let me know what your thoughts are. So the first one I want to bring up is combating stress. So if you think about when people are stressed out, what usually happens? Eventually, autoimmune diseases, heart attacks, strokes, things of that nature. So happiness, if you can find a way, and at the end, I will give you guys some tips on how to decrease stress and improve your happiness in order to improve your health. So thinking about stress, also remembering too, keeping in mind that, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but some people tend to get sick when they're stressed out and when they're unhappy, because when we are stressed out, it lowers our immune system. Not sure if you guys knew that. Heart health. Happiness does affect your heart, you guys. It affects your heart health, your cardiovascular health. As I was saying before, what I brought up in the beginning of the video, the Facebook Live, a lot of people tend to end up driving themselves out of, because of stress and because of unhappiness, into strokes, into heart attacks, into chest pain. Also, another point I wanted to make is I've noticed that if you research this, studies have shown how people who feel happier tend to live longer. I want to give you guys a suggestion. If you have Netflix, I recommend checking out the Happy documentary. It's pretty cool. They talk about extrinsic goals and intrinsic goals and how our society has taught us that happiness comes from extrinsic goals. Hey, John, thanks for joining. And those three are things like looking good, having a status or being popular, and having money. So even though when we do have those things, we do feel happy, but it's very temporary compared to intrinsic goals, things like personal growth and development, relationships. And relationships don't necessarily have to be intimate, even just the 3 to 5 people you surround yourself with. And the last one, giving back to others and helping other people. So if you can, check out the Happiness documentary. It gives some really great insight. So we talked about how happiness affects your health. I want to give you guys some suggestions in how to improve and increase your happiness in order to prevent things like a heart attack, stroke, being able to manage your stress levels. Usually when people feel happier, they tend to eat better, because when your mood is happy, you tend to want to eat things like fruits and vegetables. Gratitude, living a life of gratitude daily, even more than daily, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a day, I try to stop and remind myself of all the things that I already have, especially the things that I have now that at one time I really wanted. Getting active, being physically active, even if, and I don't mean you need to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, because sometimes when we try to aim for those kinds of goals, we set ourselves up for failure, unfortunately, biting off more than we can chew, right? So even if you do 5 to 10 minute walks Just starting out with a 5 to 10 minute walk and then building your way to 10 to 15 minutes and 15 to 20 and then maybe eventually a half hour, but just getting yourself outside, which moves me into the next one, getting yourself outside. Being outside and being connected to nature will really refill you, re-energize you, and revitalize you. We are human beings. We're meant to be outside. So if you think about how we are so consumed by technology. We are always on our phones. If you think about Wi-Fi, the waves that are going on in the air that we don't even realize, right? So if we think about how our human bodies are absorbing all of this, the waves, it is so important to make sure that you disconnect. Put yourself in the middle of a park or at the beach, just letting yourself get connected to nature. Getting good rest, getting a good night's rest. We take for granted just how much our sleep really does improve our mood. I know that when I don't get enough sleep, I am cranky, I'm irritable, I'm agitated. Meditating. You guys know I had to bring up meditation, right? This is the last tip. So meditating, making sure you take some time to sit in stillness. So just a little recap, because I always like to do a little recap before I end the video. How happiness affects your health. People who experience unhappiness tend to feel more stress and experience stress, and as a result, tend to end up developing autoimmune diseases. Oh, speaking of autoimmune diseases, another recommendation that I have, aside from the happiness documentary, checking out Heal. That's also another documentary on Netflix. So people who tend to experience stress not only with the autoimmune diseases and things like you have heart attack, stroke. So being mindful of people tend to get sick more often when they're stressed out, and also life expectancy. It affects your health in the longevity of your lifetime. So living a longer life, people who experience more happiness, studies show they tend to live longer. And just a quick recap on ways to improve your happiness in order to improve your health. Living a life of gratitude, reminding yourself to be thankful of the things that you already have, especially the things that you have that at one time you really wanted. That one really hits home for me sometimes. Getting active, getting a good night's rest, spending time outside, eating healthy, and lastly, meditating. So make sure that type in the comments if there was something that you were able, either an aha moment or some tips that you felt really benefited you or things that you got out of this. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. Mwah! Bye.